Okay, so today's first order of business is to put together some chairs. I finally got some chairs that are just for the sewing room in here. They're brand new, which is exciting. I've got a fitting today and then a check-in on a really cool one that I'm working on, which will be fun. And then hopefully I'll get sewing time for the rest of the day. So we'll see how that goes. One of my newest goals I'm actually able to put to the front of the line is getting some things done in the fitting room here, making it look nicer, getting some new shelves and some things, but I have to put them together first. So there's that. I haven't made a video in a while because there's just been a non-stop flow of work, which is absolutely excellent. But I thought I was going to have more time to do more videos, and I just have been blessed with a lot of work. So that is exciting. And not that it's slowing down right now or anything, but I realize I just have to like make some time to do these things or they're not going to get done. So here I am, sitting on the floor as a seamstress does, because I feel like everything we do is on the floor. Oh goodness, we just finished up the pricing symposium and that went super well. And I've gotten a lot of like follow-up feedback on the time blindness section specifically that I did. And I'm really excited to hear that that was something everybody needed to be hearing right now, because it's true. There's a lot of places where people forget to be charging because they forget to include certain items as part of the process. The process of running a bride through your shop is long. It's a long process. And if you forget from the minute they step in your shop to the minute they leave, if you forget any step in between there, you're not making enough money to cover all the time you've spent with them. So it's really, really important to look at the entire picture of everything. So I'm glad that that resonated with everybody, because that's going to help everybody do so much better and not feel that like resentment. Generally speaking, if you open a dress bag and you're like feeling resentful or you're not wanting to work on it, it's because you didn't charge enough. And you know, what is enough even? Everything, I feel like my life has been the story of inflation. I think I have seen inflation my entire life. I don't know what prices are supposed to be, because everybody's like, oh, this is so high. And I'm like, you know what? I guess if it's available, that's half the struggle right there. I am one of those old millennials, and I feel like my life has just, I've seen every crisis through. So I don't know what things are supposed to look like anymore. And, you know, you learn how to flourish regardless, because there's no other choice. You know, what other choice is there? Here we go. Oh, this can't be that easy. What? I'm so excited. You have no idea. So obviously the perfect sewing chair is impossible to find. So these are just office chairs. I don't know of a perfect sewing chair ever. I have a good one at home that's really expensive. And honestly, I can't recommend it, but it's not one that I can heartily recommend for the price that it was. Sometimes equipment for seamstresses is just expensive because it says seamstress on it, or for sewing, or for quilters. You know, they put a little extra money on it. You know what? This might be just fine. I think you just need the butt to crush this foam down. 4 steps. Let's see. These tires are going to get full of... Ooh, yes. Tires, the wheels. That's toddler mom life. Everything's a wheel of a tire right now for me. These are going to get full of thread in no time. I know everybody's been putting rollerblade wheels. I'm not cool. I'm not hip yet for that. I think this is going to be great. I might even be able to use this for fittings. It doesn't go super low. I know a lot of people use chairs for pinning a dress, and I'm not there yet. I just still sit on the floor because I can, and I'm sure it's going to hurt my back someday. It probably already is hurting my back, and I'm just not aware. But overall, I'm really excited to have this for a couple of reasons. I am testing out, so I've had interns in the past for a couple of summers, long time ago. I'm definitely out of practice having any type of intern. I've never had an assistant, and I'm giving that a practice right now. So part of the reason I got this is because my folding chair is fine for me, but like the minute this person came in, I was like, I should probably have some chairs that are decent and new and fresh to sit in. So I'm really excited about that. It's basically guinea pigging myself into learning how to delegate tasks, which I am notoriously terrible at. But I'm learning how to improve through having an assistant. I haven't clearly defined all the roles yet. We're kind of building that as we go, which is really fun. So that's one of the positive things on my plate lately. And kind of just building myself some sustainable growth. I want to make sure that I grow in a really nice, sustainable way, so that way I can keep offering what I'm offering. And I have a couple of new projects this year that I'm working on that I'm really so excited for yet. I can't even quite tease them yet because, you know those projects where you work on it forever and then all of a sudden it's all done at once? That's kind of where it's at. So it's like all the work is all going to be done at the last minute. When everything is complete, then it's all done. And I'm just so excited about it. So lots of good things are happening in and amongst all of my usual fitting stuff. I had a couple people request that I do a video with a complete bridal fitting on it. And I need to figure out how to do that, because I think it'd be a really long series or a video, and I would need to get someone to record it for me and then someone to put it together, because I don't think my phone can handle that amount of footage. But yes, I've been listening to everybody's requests for, you know, more bustle tutorials. I've got a couple of them coming up that I might just do on the mannequin to explain what they're doing, because they're kind of some unique ones where I had to separate things differently and pull the points up a little bit differently. So that could be really fun to go over. I don't think I'm gonna have a regular schedule right now for videos, but I definitely have one that I want to do where I go through a Uline catalog, because there's a lot of like secret sewing supplies in there that we can use in our fitting rooms, and just packaging material that is good to have multiple places to purchase from. I think we all learned from the supply shortages a few years back that we all need to be looking for different places to buy things from, so that we're not just putting all of our eggs in one basket. So I really want to do that. I have a full Uline catalog already flagged with items that we can go through, so that could be a fun one. I'm envisioning a video where you can just put it on while you're sewing and it's just in the background and you can hear stuff and look up as you want to. That's the kind of stuff I like to listen to while I'm sewing too. So, all right, so I have another one of these chairs to build, and then I have a shelf that I got, which is table height. And I actually bought a table to use as an extension for my sewing table here. The camera is on my table right now, so I'm looking up at it, just to give myself a little more space. I've actually been sewing in here a little bit more than I thought I'd be, which is really cool, for glitter dresses and stuff, because then I don't have to take the glitter into my home studio. So that's really, really nice. Okay, well, I'm going to get this put together and get ready for my fitting, and we'll see where the rest of the day takes us. Okay, so I just finished my first fitting of the morning, and I'm going to get some pins out of this dress. This is one that just has a blunt cut tulle skirt and then some lining layers to sew. But this is that really soft tulle, that like English netting stuff that's really bouncy and doesn't really hold a pin in it very well. So I'm just going to take the pins out now so I don't have to worry about traveling with them, and get this trimmed. I actually trimmed the base layer while it was on her, because it was, the top layer is like a little bit thicker, but the under one was a lot lighter, and I just know that those pins are not going to last super long, you know, shuffling it around in the bag and stuff like that. So I'm going to get this cut and freed. I've kind of been doing that a little bit more lately so that I have pins available to me right away. I'm at that weird point in the season where I'm like almost all my pins are in my dresses. I need some more sewing time to get all my pins out. Do you guys ever monitor your pins based on how busy you are and stuff? That's what I do too. So my next appointment is a second check on a gorgeous gown that I'm working on a custom piece for, and I am really so excited. I'm actually a little nervous because it's artistic, very sculptural piece for a neckline, shoulder build situation, and we've got enough fabric to redo it if she absolutely hates it. I think I got it spot on, so I feel like 80%. The rest is just nerves, because, you know, having them look at something for the first time will give us a lot of feedback. So I'm excited and nervous all in one. I think people are always surprised to hear that I'm nervous, even though I've done this for so long, because, you know, it's still a piece of your heart out there, and you know, the time that you spent, whether or not they like it. So showing them for the first time is also nerve-wracking for me, even after all these years. But I'm excited because I think it came out really pretty. And whenever I have a second check-in, I really try hard to have most of the pins out and have a significant amount of work done so they can already see the vision and start getting comfortable. I always prep people ahead of time that, you know, we're not completely done yet. It's not finished, but it's more finished so we can check all these other details. But sometimes I'll have like lace lifted up and, you know, big sections open or whatever. And so instead of worrying them, I try to prep them ahead of time, you know, with how it's going to look. Now hers is not dangling open, so that's really great. But yeah, the new custom neckline she gets to see it for the first time today. So we'll get some live feedback on if it is the jam, if I got the, you know, inspo correct. So we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here and get this trimmed out so we can start seeing it. Now this one might be a good one to do a bustle tutorial on, because this train, it's not scalloped, but it's definitely a different shape. And it's one of those ones where everybody's like, how do you put points on this? So when I'm pinning it, I'm also trying to look for what method I'm going to use. I'm going to look for the seams and try to match things up to help myself out later, because I don't want to be guessing, you know, later through the process. So I'm going to get this trimmed out, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I just finished my second check-in with the dress that I'm working on that has the sculptural neckline. I am also about to crash out because I am so excited and so relieved. She loved it. There's no notes, no design changes. We put everything together. It looks incredible. I'm so excited. Whenever you work on something sculptural from photos and with client direction, there's always that possibility that when they see it on, you know, they don't like it, or that we need to adjust things. And I am just so tickled right now. But literally I could just fall asleep, because you put so much of your energy into these custom pieces, and then when you see that they love it and it looks exactly like they were hoping, it's just so peaceful. You just get this. So now I have to connect it to the dress, and we checked range of motion for her dance and everything, and it just looks so good. So I am totally jazzed. I'm literally probably going to sit on my couch in here for a little bit and just decompress, because even when something good happens, it's still like a lot of energy that goes into the process. I have my second chair to build, so I might do that, and then I got another shelf that I want to put together. But yeah, I'm probably going to hold this couch down for a little bit longer, because that was a lot of energy going in one moment, and I'm so thankful. The structure that I built for this piece is on cotton organza, cotton duck. This is how tired I am. I forgot the words that I'm trying to say. And boning. And there are these beautiful organic shapes that come around and make a sleeve neckline buildup that is just so beautiful. And she bought the Mikado fabric to go with her dress, so everything matches perfectly. And it's just going to be so dreamy. So I'm hoping that I can get home in a little bit too and get to do some sewing. I actually have a organizer coming to help me with my studio at home this coming week, and I want to prepare a little bit ahead for that. I realized kind of after the fact that she's super minimalist, and I have a feeling she's going to try to make me declutter a lot, and I'm not excited about that. So I'm probably going to do some pre-decluttering so that she's not terrified. Because, you know, seamstresses, we collect and we keep everything. I have
leaves from dresses from years ago in case I need them. I have everything. And I don't want somebody to tell me that I have to throw them away, so I better put them away nicely now. I feel like it's kind of like when you want to work out, but you want to go to the gym, but you got to work out at home before you go to the gym because you don't look good enough to work out at the gym. I feel like this is that vibe, if there ever was a vibe like that, you know? Okay, I'm going to rest for 2 minutes, and I'll either be back at home sewing or I will be putting together some chairs. We'll find out. So I am back home. First order of business, I want to do a new updated list of all my projects that are coming up. I always put the bride's like final pickups in my calendar on my phone, but I like to have a paper list that I can stick with a magnet onto my desk so I can see them, because sometimes I'll put like a podcast on while I'm sewing and I don't want to, you know, switch screens on my phone. So I like to write it down. So I need to update this. And then I'm going to go through and organize my rack. I feel like I always need to go through it because as I take things down, I don't always put them back where they need to go on the rack. So that's always a task I need to do. And then as you can see behind me, my tables they're full. It is embarrassingly full. This one up here, I don't even look at it anymore. But like I said, this organizer is coming this week, and I want to be a little bit more cleaned up than it is now and just start decluttering a little bit before she gets here, so that way I don't feel totally like embarrassed or overwhelmed. I'm really nervous. I'm really excited about it though. When we first moved into this house, I'd never really like moved into this room. I just kind of brought things in that I know belong in here, and I've been working on it slowly, but honestly I've been busier than I thought, which is crazy because like I knew I was going to be busy, but I didn't know I'd be as busy as I am, and I am so thankful and so blessed. But it also made the situation to where my room isn't really like, you know, optimal. So I'm hoping to get a little closer to that. And having someone professional come in to help me, I feel like is a really good step in the right direction. So I'm excited. So okay, I'm going to get my list going, and then we will get some sewing time on camera too. Okay, so like I said earlier, the name of the game is getting pins out of dresses right now because I've got some fittings tomorrow that I am pinless for. I'm still not used to having a camera on the desk while I sew. So we'll see if we can get some pins out. But yeah, I'm just so excited right now. There's so much good stuff coming, and I'm coming up on the 1-year anniversary of working my business from a different angle, and I'm just really excited. Not that I was planning on doing poorly or anything, but it's just refreshing to have things going in such a nice direction. And I don't know, I can really see some positive light. Not even light at the end of the tunnel, it sounds like doomsday. But I just feel really confident about the amount of inquiries that I've been getting and the types of brides that I've been able to find. I've had some of the kindest brides lately with the most beautiful dresses and the most fun custom pieces that they want made. And I'm just, you know, thankful, obviously, but I'm so excited because some of these things are finding me that are truly meant for me to be doing. Like some custom stuff that I don't even know who else I would have suggested them to go to. Stuff that's just really in my skill set. And I am worlds thankful for stuff like that. Just worlds thankful. And I have some good dresses that are nice and simple in between too, which is really nice. So not every dress is kicking my booty, which is lovely. I've got some fun colored dresses on the rack. I've got some pink. I've got some black. I've got these nice blushy ones. It's just all good stuff. And I'm sure every video I talk about how blessed and thankful that I am, but it's true. Like, I can't think of another job that would allow me the flexibility that this one does. I'm in my home right now. My kid is in the other room playing and happy, and it's absolutely incredible. I can't even believe it. And like this sweet little bride, drove from pretty far away, and I'm always super, I don't want to say I'm weirded out when people drive from far away, not in a bad way, but I'm like, oh, I'm sure I could help you find someone closer to you, and they're always like, oh, I looked you up online and I really like your work or whatever. So even though I've done this job for so long, I still get some of that like imposter syndrome stuff, and I have to remind myself I've been doing this for so long. But it's one of those things that, like, no matter how many hours you sew, I feel like that master seamstress just feels kind of like a weird title. Like, how do we know we've earned that? Because, yeah, there's a few programs online you can get, like, certificates at and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's really about the clocked hours that you have working on these dresses, working with these brides, handling the escalations, being in the trenches of this type of work is really what makes you a master at this. And even when you're at a master level, it still feels like, I don't know why, and I don't know for how long. Maybe in the next 10 years I'll figure it out. But like I said, I am just so thankful for it all. And I think the item that I'm coming out with by the end of the year will really be a gift for the community. Our industry is so small. Like, I feel like we all exist kind of quietly in our homes, and the product that I'm working on is something that we all need and that I happen to be really good at, and I'm really excited about it because it will help anybody who has it to do better at their business, which is something I'm really passionate about anyways. I love helping people, become attracted to this work, and just talking about what an opportunity is to be a seamstress, whether you're a bridal seamstress or you're sewing, standard alterations at your home. This has been my job for my entire life. I've had other jobs in between because I love doing, all different kinds of stuff, but this has always been my job. And there's so much money to be made here. And again, I'm just sitting in like a real place of gratitude this afternoon that second fitting really put me in a good place mentally for the day. I'm exhausted, but it reminds you why you like doing what you're doing. Because sometimes you get into this work and you're exhausted because there's deadline after deadline after deadline, and you can't really like stop and celebrate in between. So today is nice because it's a little bit different. It's been a good reminder why I love doing this. But yeah, it's still just as exhausting because you're putting all of your best into a project, and you can literally see all the effort that you put in. So that's really exciting because the piece never existed. Sometimes when you're working on a dress doing the alterations, it looks just as good as it did before, it just fits them. So it's kind of hard even for the bride to really fully appreciate all the work that you did because it just looks good when it's done. Whereas when you make a custom piece that didn't even exist before, you can really tell all the love and the time and the thought that you put into it. So it just communicates your heart in a different way, which is really fun. So yes, that has been the feeling of today, which is really nice. And then I'm glad I have some simpler work to work on right now that's a little bit easy for my brain. Just gonna get pins out of some dresses. And everybody always asks, what kind of hems you put on the dresses. And honestly, I just copy what's here. So if the manufacturer did it this way, I'm going to do it that way so that it looks the same. So this one is that's the manufacturer hem. Can you see that? I'm going to tidy mine up a little bit more than that, but I'm going to do it the exact same way and trim all that off. I like the power mesh for a lining. I think that's pretty. And we're adding a slit to this dress that didn't used to have a seam here, so I'm excited about that one. I am pro slit, as everybody knows. That's one of the other things. I'd love to make some more content about how to add slits, because I think there is still a lot of fear around adding slits on a dress that doesn't have a seam. And you know what, honestly, if you don't want to do it, don't, because if you're not into it, you might not be good at it. But if you're teetering on the fence between maybe adding that to your list of services and you just don't have any practice at it, don't be afraid. They're nerve-wracking, but they're nerve-wracking because they're a high risk. And they're high risk because You're cutting into something that didn't used to be there. And as long as the bride is down and, you know, doesn't change her mind about the slit, because you can't really go back once you put one in. I would say to get yourself a practice dress. And there's a few different ways to install a slit. So you can start with some easier ones. And honestly, one of my favorite methods is to just cut the slit all the way to the waist, so that way it becomes a new seam. If the dress has enough room for you to do that, of course. If it's already very fitted, then you can't do that. But I think that's a really great area for a lot of people. And if you're on the fence about it, if you're a non-slit person, then obviously stick to your guns, that's fine. But if you are thinking about it, it's a really fun way to add on to a dress ticket when brides are into it, you know. I don't usually just offer them out of nowhere. Usually brides are looking for those. It's, you know, I'm not like, oh, do you want a slit to your dress? Like, because then you have to like convince somebody, and I don't want to be convincing somebody of a major design feature like that. Unroll this. To me, this is one of the areas where you can really tell if you're a good seamstress or not, is your start and stop when you're blending a rolled hem back into place. Is this transition point, how nicely you blend it in. And of course, doing it on camera makes it so much easier. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Get your unroll, line it up, goes along. I feel like that's the equivalent of turning the music down so you can see to drive. Okay, here's that one. I'm gonna go with this one. And knowing how to start and stop on and off is really helpful too. When I first learned how to do the tapering into a rolled hem on a hem like this, I was described it as getting on and off the freeway. This is your on-ramp. So I still think of that this day. And it's always important to clear your thread off so that it's not in the way. Which I'm totally trying to get my thread in the trash can now. I can tell I'm nervous for the organizer to come. She seems super sweet and I'm really, really excited, but I'm definitely nervous because this is like the think center in here. This is where all of my mess is and where I make everything happen. So it's not tidy in here as far as, you know, I got piles of stuff. I think every seamstress has a pile of things or a place where a pile forms, and I'm no different. I definitely have my piles and my collections and all the things. And it's not that my room isn't working well, I just have, but yeah, so I am a little nervous for the organizer to come just because I haven't had anybody look at my sewing room in a critical way before. Even when I have somebody come to clean my house a couple of times a month, I get some help cleaning the house. And even, I don't let those people in here either, because like I know where everything is and I don't really want it to get messed up. But as I grow my business, I don't want to preclude myself from having somebody come in here and help me sew or sit in here with me to read my emails to me or whatever. And so I need to get this kind of locked in so I don't feel embarrassed to have people in here. Now as far as like dirt, like it's not dirty in here, but you all know we've got that pile of glitter on the floor and we've got pins just kind of astray. So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, and just getting some of my piles folded down. I mean, I think we all could spend at least an hour folding down all of our piles, right? I think we all could spend a couple hours folding down all the fabric, putting away the trim, you know, putting away the elastic, all the items that we use that need to just get put back. I'm the worst at putting things back after I've used them, especially in my sewing room. It is the truth. I am the cabinet door and drawer lever opener in my house. That's me. I've been that way since I was a kid too, so like I don't know what that means, but that's just who I am as a person. So I don't know how to fix that, because I have tried, but it doesn't last longer than the day that I've thought about it, you know. I'm like, I'm going to try to be better at closing the doors and drawers, and it lasts literally one day. At this point, I'm just pretending that it's a charming part of my personality because I don't really know how to fix it. So, whoops. But yeah, we'll see what she has to say. She's coming for 3 hours, and I feel like that'll give us a good start on kind of a game plan and getting a layout in here that works. And honestly, I feel like the layout that I have in here is stronger than I realize. I just kind of need some help with the last bits. I didn't grow up in a super like tidy house, and I don't really know what tidy habits look like up close as far as like building it into your life. So everything that I know is just what I've learned from, you know, my adult life, and there's always more you can learn how to do and add to your repertoire of things as you get older, you know. So I'm really excited, but definitely a little bit nervous too. So we'll see how that all goes. Okay, I got another dress down that just has a cut hem, so I get to turn the machine off now. And let's just get these pins out of this layer. This dress is ginormous. The width of the hem is huge. I know everybody prices their stuff differently based on how many layers or whatever. I'm more of a, how wide is this? Because this particular dress, I feel like, if I remember correctly, this is almost like a 5-yard side seam to side seam. It's a long dress. Like, it's long in the offcuts when they come off. Okay. So I'm just gonna run these. And we'll get some pins out. Oh, this will be great. Whew. I'm just using some Kai scissors today because these are my favorite. I'm really picky about which scissors I like to use on tool because you don't want to get all those little jaggedy bits, and you don't want it to be catching on everything either. So the tip has to be nice. Let me see. See if I can adjust this a little bit. If only you could see how my camera is set up. I tied it with some ribbon to my machine. Such a hoot. And I set mine up that I can just run my scissors through the fold. Just like this. I put a little tension on the fabric and then I just go to town with the scissors. I know everybody's got their own way of doing this. I saw somebody that was using a serger with the needles up to just cut through it. They would run it through, and that was interesting. That's not a vibe for me, but like it was just an interesting way somebody else was doing theirs. Let's see. So yeah, like I was saying, I've got my Uline catalog just on my table over here, and I wanted to go through and do a video on that because they had some really cool stuff in there that I thought we could use for our sewing rooms, like white gloves and anti-fatigue floor mats and safety goggles for when we're crushing beads or when we're sewing beads, stuff like that, and cleaning supplies, because I feel like that's another area that we had talked about in the time blindness section, or even in the like overhead section of the symposium, was talking about how you shouldn't be bringing your supplies from home to work. So you need to be able to supply them for yourself. And Uline is one of those places where if you spend money on that, that's clearly a business spend. Like, most of us aren't just buying our home items off there. Whereas if you buy like from Amazon or something, you could mix up a business purchase with a personal purchase on accident. So it's kind of nice because I feel like it helps you keep things a little bit more organized when it comes to like your bookkeeping and stuff. But yeah, they've got an entire line of everything you need to run an office in the first place. So I was really tickled. Plus they have a juicy catalog, and I feel like catalogs are so much fun. I remember going through catalogs all the time when I was a kid. The thick JCPenney catalog and Sears and stuff like that were my favorite. And like what was that one? Like the Vermont Country Store. Do you remember that catalog? I loved looking through those. So that's probably why I enjoy the Uline catalog also. But yeah, I feel like that's one of my goals this year, is to kind of do more research and branching out to find businesses that are offering some of the stuff that I need so that we can have more options, and just talk about that because you know, you don't want to be buying everything from just one place and then all of a sudden we can't buy those things anymore. Okay. Organize you. Organize you. And there we are. We can pull these all off. Bloop. I love that. Does anybody else do this? Generally it's nice to work on whatever dress is next in line, but in the rare occasion that you can't, see, there's all that fabric. It's gone now. In the rare occasion that you can't just work on everything in line, I feel like it's nice to be able to, you know, get your pins out of something like this. Now, I guess I could just go and buy more pins, but I also know for me that I use my pin box as a little bit of a gauge. So if my pin box at my shop is empty, I need to be more mindful of how many things I'm booking, because I know how many pins I own, and if I start getting too busy, my pins will all be gone. So that's kind of what this is an indicator of too, which is, like I said, a plus. It's a huge positive. Being busy is that double-edged sword where, you know, we're so thankful to be busy, but it's creating, you know, manageable expectations, manageable growth. That's hard because, you know, we don't always know what our energy level is going to be like day to day, or, you know, what our families are going to need from us, whether it's our mom, dad, or kids or siblings. You know, sometimes you're going to be called away to be a good sister instead of getting your work done or whatever. So my pins are kind of my gauge for that. I know when I'm down to 0, that's kind of a red flag. Okay. And I know I'm off camera for a minute because I want to do good at my hem. Let's get this cut through. Plus, I had an older client, she's not old, but she's from a different chapter of my life, reached out and asked me to make a fun project for her that's not bridal, and I really want to do it. So I have to clear some time and headspace for myself to accomplish that, because it sounds like a really fun project. She gets to go to the beach with her family, and she wants a matching swimsuit to match her family, which is adorable, and I want to make her a little something. So she's going to bring supplies over this week for me to do that, and it's going to be a blast. I love doing something in between my work that's kind of fun or out of the ordinary or whatever, just to refresh myself with. And I did some little teepees for one of my clients recently that I just had a blast with. They're kind of a puzzle, but again, it kind of scratches that itch in your brain that you don't always get from, you know, doing wedding dresses over and over again. So that's kind of nice. I'm glad I have a moment for something like that that's kind of more engineering. And like I said, the neckline I did recently is very structured and engineered, and again, just really scratches that place in your heart that, you know, likes designing things and figuring out some light amounts of math, not big math, fun math. Okay. There we go. Oh, I feel so much better already. Let's see here. Let's get all the way to the end. Bloop. So yes, if you sew a little bit out of order just to free yourself up so you have enough pins, I would say you're doing just fine. That's the best part about this job, is that nobody is watching you unless you record yourself and put yourself on the internet. Nobody's in your sewing room judging you, except for yourself maybe. Here we go. Okay. Bloop, bloop. That feels excellent. So now when I do my fitting tomorrow, I don't feel like I am out of pins. Make sure I get my scraps in the right bag. And then this top layer, oh, isn't this beautiful fabric? I love it so much. This lace has a different name than the dress name, so I always forget which is which. But I like this one a lot. And honestly, the manufacturer hem is just cut through. So you can cut this just exactly the same way. See, look at that. They just chop it right in the middle. So I just do the same thing. If I can help it so that a piece looks nice, I'll try. But for the most part, Like I said, I just put back whatever was there. It's very modern to just chop through the lace. There we go. Blend it in. And see, even at the hem, look at this little guy. This little guy, he's flopping. I might see if I can trim him off just to save him a little bit. We'll see. Let's get this lined up. And this is why it's also super important at your fitting to pin as close to perfection as you can, if not completely perfect, because if you pin it really well, you can do this. You can slide your scissors into the fold and just trim right along and be very confident with what you're cutting versus laying it all out and remarking everything. I see a lot of people doing that, and I just, the way I was trained was not to do that. Not that it's a bad thing or anything, but just to help you save some time. Again, I know that I talk a lot about time, and that might seem really boring, but you know, if you're going to spend your time doing a job, you should make the most money at it that you can, and being fast is how you do that. And obviously, see, like right here, I paused because I didn't want to cut through that little guy, so I cut like under him. You see that? So you can still be meticulous at your work and mindful of your time. Now, I don't end up timing everything. I just know from years of doing this how long things take me approximately. Okay. And then this guy is like right on the fold, so I got to decide how I want to line that up. I think I can cut right above her. That way she's not dangling. There we go. And we're actually building her something at the top, so I can use some of these pieces for this, and I'm really excited. I love when I get to use either, you know, the same fabric or like the offcuts are enough. Every so often, people bring you the tiniest little scrap and hope that you can build some. Okay, so I have this many pins, which looks much better than what I had before. And I went ahead and sewed my slit in, and everybody always asks what the top looks like. So I usually hang it up with the pins in it just to kind of press it into place. And then I'll see if I need to edge stitch this or not. Sometimes the lining rolls out and sometimes it's good. But I think we're good for right now. I'm super excited. It's been a great day. I'll see you guys in my next video.